here, Fight Designer LLC, and the Fight Designer and YouTube YouTube channels. Been a little while since I had an update. I got some more stuff to share. You know, I've been busy. So before I get into the product reviews and the main theme of today, yeah, a lot going on. Play That Goes Wrong has opened at Oregon Contemporary Theater. They're going well now. There's a lot in that show. It's kind of crazy. In talks now about their next show and some interesting kind of gun wrangling prop stuff with The Last Yiddish Speaker, which is one of their upcoming shows that involves a rifle and some pistols. Yeah, some work at a couple of different high schools and some other things going on. Had a great time at the Seattle Sockeye Stage Combat Workshop. Big plug for them. That was great. The main thing I want to talk about today is some of these Smoke Wolf style. That's a brand name, the brand name, I don't know. A brand name that these things were marketed under. But basically these fake airsoft suppressors that I want to talk about today that do both the LED fake muzzle flash stuff out the front, like the Spitfire tracers and some of the Ace Tech ones, and a little fake smoke out the front, basically a vape machine kind of thing. So I've had a couple of videos about these before because it's exciting to me. This is new and it's a really freaking cool effect, I think. So what I want to do today, I've actually got a couple of new ones I want to talk about sort of the state of the industry as regards these things right now, do a couple demos, and a little compare and contrast. So a couple of new ones I can compare today. So the first one that I got, and I'll link to that video both at the end and down below. But the first one that I got was, I had to order it from DHGate, which is a drop shipping sort of, I don't know, it's kind of like eBay for drop shippers out of China. And I ordered 3 things from them, and this is the only one I ever got. So it's a little sketchy. One of them, they said, oh, we can't ship that to the US, and they refunded my money. That's fine. One of them sent me some random weird like seeds in a bag, and because it had a tracking number, I couldn't get a refund right away. And so that was strung out for over like a month and a half, and eventually I got my money back. And the third was this Smoke Wolf suppressor, which was pretty darn cool. And as I've posted in some previous videos, what I had to do with this as a little hack to make it trigger when it didn't have something going through the muzzle was put some of this kind of basically mylar balloon type filament stuff that you have from party streamers. And so far I've been able to just grab them from things like Pride festivals where it had blown off somebody's booth and I just picked it up. It's like, I'm going to use that. But something like that down through the middle so that as a gas blowback sends gas out, just that will twitch around enough that it will make it trigger the effect, because these are made to do sort of tracer style things with airsoft or Nerf guns or things like that, where it will, you know, the earlier ones were just to illuminate glow-in-the-dark BBs. So they had LEDs on the inside to charge the BBs. And then they realized, hey, if we have LEDs on the inside, we could do some LEDs out the front as well and make it look kind of like muzzle flash, which was kind of cool. And then someone realized, hey, we've got these sort of vape things that are fairly compact. You can just put some liquid in there. And then once that's there, have that triggered by the exact same thing, have a little fan in there. And then once that's all set up, that can also now trigger a little smoke effect, which is pretty cool. So the first couple of shots on any of these, you're mostly going to get lights because the smoke takes a little while to build up. But then once it's been going and you've got the smoke triggered, you're going to start to get a little bit, and I'm keeping my green screen off so we can see the effects as much as possible here. This is the innards right now of the one that I got on DHGate. So you can see it triggering. See the fan going a little bit there, and a little bit of smoke coming out. And the light hits the smoke. Now, so the thing about the LED lights, yeah, they're kind of cool on their own, but they work best when they hit something else. So whether that's something that you're shooting point blank, that light can bounce off of, Or it's something atmospheric, like smoke or water or whatever, that hits the light and it reflects it back really well, which is nice. Kind of like lasers. Lasers are nothing without something to diffract the light. But you put them through smoke, and all of a sudden we see this cool colored light. And the more you build up the smoke, the more you get a cool colored effect as well. So these kinds of things are kind of fun. It's not a perfect hack because the fact that the drop a little rubber O-ring. The fact that the simple motion is what triggers it means that the same kind of just air moving that little light will trigger it. Also means that even just, tricking around sometimes will trigger it. So limited utility. If you need to get some shots where we have this simulated muzzle flash, they kind of need to be standalone shots. If we have a lot of action before that and then the shot, you might well get some weird accidental flashing and smoke before the shots where it's supposed to actually be fired. So it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system, but it's kind of fun. So anyway, this is the one that I got off DHGate, and this was, I want to say like $85, something like that, off DHGate. And it's a good size for a suppressor. It's a realistic size for a functional can that would reduce the sound. But I've got two more that I want to talk about now. And the first is a similar size bracket, but this was only $60 off of a site called Zhendou, where I'd already bought some of these shell ejecting fake props as well. Now similarly, I've got a little bit of that ribbon down here. Very similar in a lot of ways. It uses the exact same kind of small thing of fog juice. Similarly, decent container, instructions, and a little USB charger. But yeah, the instructions are still not really useful to me. Google Translate makes it okay. Oh wait, hey, there is English on the back. There we go. So refueling port, fan, on, off. So unlike some of the pure LED flash ones where there's a little switch in the front, so far, both of these, you have to take it apart to turn it on or off. The switch is just this little thing on the inside, and there's separate switches here for the LED and the smoke effect, which is interesting. There's a little, like, actual switch here and a button for the LED. It cycles through. This was built as a rainbow flash thing, so it can cycle through different colors. For a muzzle flash to be realistic, generally you're going to want sort of a yellow or orange or red, not blue or green or something, but I don't know, maybe you got laser guns, something like that. This has 2 batteries, which is a little interesting. Yeah, you probably could fit this in a different can if you have a different fake suppressor, but having those open ends is going to help a lot in terms of the light being able to get through. This is interesting. It has sort of this exposed spring thing. As with the others, 14mm counterclockwise threading, which is pretty standard. But this one has also counterclockwise threading on the cap of the suppressor. So this part here, you could actually leave on your gas blowback prop and not have to take it off, which is kind of nice. So if you want to take it off and either refill it or reset it or something like that, there we go, it's clockwise threading. Yep, so this one, you could unscrew just the ends and take the end off, but keep this part attached to your prop and that's to get the whole thing off at once. Quick example of this. Now this comes in a little bit cheaper. This is, what, $59.99, and also they often have a little bit of a discount code and free shipping. So points for that. It's a little bit cheaper, and it's about the same, which is not bad. Now, most of these, whether from Zhendou or the DHGate one that I got before, which is now a little more expensive, or some of the others, there's a variety of options in terms of the aesthetics of it, which housing you want to get. So there's a couple of different housings you could choose. For prop stuff, I tend to not like anything that's too potentially dangerous in the front, so I don't really want the sharp bezel or anything like that. But I also like something that'll hide the LEDs a little bit. This sort of does, but not great. But, at least if the light's not directly on it, you're not going to see too much of the LEDs in the plastic, and we could probably slide something under there if we needed to. But, you know, we want it clear when it's actually firing so that we can get the benefit of that light coming out, which is nice. All right, the next one I want to share, and this is our third in our compare and contrast, is from AKGelBlaster, which is a site that does a lot of these sort of water-based gel bead kind of airsoft alternatives. This is also $59.99, so same general price line. Now what you get with this, you don't get any kind of slick box, you don't get any instructions at all. That one came with two things of fog juice. This came with one, but it's a little bit bigger. This comes with, which I appreciate, two separate batteries in a bag. So we got a backup battery, and I could charge one while the other one is being used because the thing itself only uses one. The charger is just a USB thing, but it does have a little light up bit here, which is kind of nice. So it turns green when it's fully charged, so you have a way to know. Also comes with a couple of extra of these sort of rubber O-rings, and, which I really like, some extras of the little rubber gasket that closes up the fog juice thing, because that strikes me as the kind of thing that's going to be really easy for a client to lose. It's a tiny, tiny little part, and the thing doesn't work without it. So that worries me a little bit. But the housing for these, two things. One, the mechanism itself is smaller. So this means it could go in something else. And then the housing is smaller, but is also cheaper. So this is 3D printed, actually. 3D printed plastic as opposed to the aluminum of the others. So this is a higher quality housing. This is a lower quality housing. It does show the LEDs more in the front. So if you see the muzzle when it's not actually firing, you can kind of tell it looks a little more fake. You can kind of see the LEDs. It's a bit more of a giveaway. Well, this is frankly higher quality than the 3D printing I do. If I'm being blunt, this is definitely several steps above the kind of stuff that I'm doing. But it is still 3D printed, and so there's a bit of a seam here. There's a little bit of striation, you know, and it looks not like a. It doesn't really look like a suppressor. It looks more like one of the sort of flash hider devices that you can get for ARs these days that'll, you know, just kind of shape where the sound goes and where the flash goes more than try to hide it the way an actual suppressor does. But this is much smaller. It's much more compact, which means we're pretty close to being able to hide this almost in a barrel. I mean, this is a barrel from a APS M870 shell ejecting airsoft gas shotgun. It's not quite the same diameter. It's still a good quarter of an inch or more bigger, but it's almost to where we could put one of those sort of door breacher ends on the shotgun, like on a tactical shotgun, and have it hidden in that. Certainly you could be hidden in the end of you know, a muzzle device for an AR-15 and not look like it's meant to be a suppressor, which, you know, is good because frankly, if it's a real suppressor, you're not going to get a lot of flash and smoke. So these come not fully charged. This plastic, I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell if this is cast or 3D printed or what. But again, you have to pull it apart to actually make it work. There is a button in the front. So within this thing, you can actually access it while it's still together to turn it on or off. I foresee probably most of these, I'm going to want to put it inside something else, just because this housing is not going to hide it well enough to be super effective. So here's, actually got two of these. Here's one that's already on, and it has a little bit of that sort of Mylar tape in it. So you can see, again, yeah, get a little more light here. Yeah, so you can see, again, the front, you can kind of see the clear plastic and the LEDs. That's a bit of a giveaway. For props, you know, obviously we want it to look like the real thing as much as possible. The whole appeal of these is that it simulates some of the real thing. There's different modes you can toggle through here between just flash, just smoke, I think, or both. Let's see which we got going in here. Yeah, that's just flash. The fan isn't moving at all. Oh, there we go. Here's some smoke. But no light. So that'd be just the smoke. And again, whew, this time we got smoke and light. So it works fine with me just blowing on it. Now let's see how well it actually works though, when it is fully assembled. Definitely hear some of the motor and fan noise on that. But, you know, for most of this, it's going to be digital video, and we can always Foley over it anyway. So I'm less worried about that. I've had a couple of things where I'm like, you know, we could almost use this for live theater, especially when it's in what looks like a fake suppressor. So we have an excuse, as it were, for the sound to be a little quieter. Especially in the dark or something, that could be kind of a fun effect. But, I don't know. Yeah, that's a nice burst of smoke. Sorry, my gas is almost empty here, so we're not seeing a whole lot. But in a way, the shorter muzzle device actually gives us a little bit more effect, because we got a little bit more gas still coming out. But the problem is we can kind of see the end, and it doesn't really look like a suppressor, which means it doesn't really look like much on the end of the pistol. You know, why would you have something like this on the end of a pistol? Because it's not a full can. This, to me, looks like it belongs on the end of an M4, which we can also do with a gas blowback M4. Or we could put this inside another housing. So there's no reason that something like this couldn't go inside a housing like this. Or you can also get, you know, suppressor housings for airsoft that are just completely fake aluminum cans that are basically hollow. So I should be able to mount something like this quite easily inside something like this, which in theory gives me a whole lot of aesthetic options, which is kind of nice. But each one of those is going to cost me an extra, you know, 40 to 60 bucks for the aluminum can. So price-wise, it's a bit of a trade-off. But yeah, aesthetically, I think this would look great on the end of an M4. You just gotta think about whether or not you're gonna see the front or not, or maybe like put something over this for your in-between shots. Turn this off again. There we go. Yep. All right. So I do appreciate that you can get at it from the front, because like as a gun wrangler, you want to be able to turn these things off in between shots, which is nice. But also the backup battery is a nice option to have for that. So price-wise, I don't know. You know, I think it's great to have options. I love that there are options. So the other thing that's coming along now is there's a person I've met on Instagram who actually bought some of these also from China and is trying to become the sole supplier in the U.S. Of the Smoke Wolf suppressors, and bought a whole bunch of them. Selling them for 150 plus 15 shipping. Is what he's selling them for. But he's also including some extra stoppers and with an E-years warranty or something like that. So there's some customer support that you're not going to have for either of these other options. None of these other options are going to come with any customer support at all. Like, no one's going to help you. You're out that money if it doesn't work. So there's something to be said for that. But I don't know. You know, if it's 150 bucks versus, what was it, 56 bucks? 60 bucks. Okay. Plus, sometimes you can get coupons on. Plus 60, you know, 60 bucks for one of these or one of these. Or, you know, 80 some bucks for one of these. If you get it on sale, again, DHGate, they've gone back up now. Now they're about 112, and you might not get it for a month and a half. Who knows? So the good news is we're starting to get options. And this is the joys of when capitalism works. This is how it's supposed to work, is you get options. A gentleman on Instagram has been trying to send cease and desist letters to some folks who've been trying to import other Smoke Wolf suppressors, but I think that cat's out of the bag. I think we've got enough other folks who are figuring this out. We're going to see more and more of these hitting the market soon, which is just going to drive the prices down and give us more options about what size do you want it to be, what kind of housing do you want it to have, you know, what kind of mechanisms do you want it to have? Do you care about different colors, or do you just want like a basic, like, realistic muzzle flash? So I'm really excited about this because I think it's a great option for safe muzzle flash effect in digital video, or conceivably, possibly even live theater with a gas blowback. Is it perfect? No. Does every gun have a suppressor on it in every story? Of course not. But we're getting there. And also, the smaller these get, pretty soon we might be getting to a point where it doesn't even have to look like a suppressor. And it might be able to be just a little bit of a barrel extension that we can build on. And if it gets to where it can, you know, fit in the just a little barrel extension on a shotgun or something, or a heavier gauge rifle, now we might be starting to hit where it's just a prop. And that's pretty exciting too. So let me know what you think. Is this the kind of thing that you'd want to rent, that you'd want to buy? I mean, it's still expensive enough that I think they make sense for a rental house like Fight Designer LLC to be able to rent these out. But there is a certain skill point involved. And you kind of have to know what you're doing. I mean, a gun wrangler should know their props. And so when I just rent something out, you may not know much about these props. I did rent out the first gig that I had with some of the basic LED flash suppressors. It was to a friend of mine, and you know, he's a lovely individual, but guns are not really his thing. Prop guns, armoring, it's not really his thing. And he was fidgeting with them, and the little ribbon thing fell out. And so, yeah, they didn't actually go off for that gig. They worked as, you know, non-light up props. But to actually be able to consistently get the effect you want, you need somebody who knows these props. So it's that weird sweet spot of you need someone who knows the prop well, but are they still going to not own the prop themselves and rent the prop? I don't know. Am I going to get enough gun wrangling work myself to where I'm going to be on set and be able to do these things? I also don't know. I'm in Eugene, Oregon now. There's not a huge film market here. So, we'll see. I'm curious, but I'm probably not going to be able to invest a whole lot more in finding out until someone starts hiring me to do some work, because, So, yeah, let me know what you think. And if you're interested, if you want to support this work, you know, not only have I been buying these toys, but I also have to buy a new laptop now because my laptop's dying. And no one's supporting me in these videos, so I can't keep doing this forever. If you want this work to continue, hire me to do some work. Offer to send me a little money and you know, put in a request with it. They're like, hey, would you do a video on blank, and here's some money to help you pay for it. Send me a free sample of something you want me to review. I'd love to be able to do any of that. But until then, you know, I'll play when I can. Share cool stuff when I find it. And if that doesn't happen, then, you know, have fun on your own. So, you know, until next time I can play, have fun, be safe, be sane, be healthy, look good doing it. And this is Kevin Inoue, the Fight Designer LLC, and YouTube Theatrical Firearms channel, author of the Theatrical Firearms Handbook and the Screen Combat Handbook, both of which are available from Amazon or from the publisher Routledge, usually with a coupon. And thanks for watching.